India's rapid economic rise has sparked a critical global question. Can the world's most populous nation eventually replace China as the world's manufacturing powerhouse? On the surface, the idea seems plausible. Foreign investments into India have grown significantly in recent years. At the same time, China's manufacturing dominance is being tested by rising labor costs, geopolitical tensions, and a Western shift towards supply chain diversification. But the real question is deeper. Does India truly have the capacity, infrastructure, and momentum to become the next global manufacturing hub? To understand this, it's important to examine the foundational factors that are fueling this belief. India's most notable edge is demographic. While both nations once rivaled each other in population size, the dynamics have changed. In 2023, India officially overtook China in total population, with over 1.44 billion people, compared to China's 1.42 billion. But it's not just about how many people there are, it's about who those people are. China is now grappling with a rapidly aging population and declining birth rates. According to the National Bureau of Statistics of China, the country saw its population shrink by 1.26 million in 2022 and by a further 2.59 million in 2023. Projections indicate that this downward trend will likely continue, marking the start of long-term demographic decline. India, in contrast, added over 12.65 million people to its population in 2023 alone. That's a level of population growth China hasn't experienced since the early 1990s. More importantly, India's median age is just 28.2 years, one of the youngest among major economies, compared to China's median age of over 40.1. By 2050, this gap is expected to widen further. A younger population means a growing labor force, a vibrant consumer base, and greater economic dynamism. In this context, India stands at a demographic sweet spot, one that could provide a long-term workforce advantage in labor-intensive manufacturing industries. Another major factor working in India's favor is the cost of labor. According to government statistics and international reports, the average annual salary in India in 2023 was around 240,300 rupees, roughly $2,900 USD. Meanwhile, China's average wage was about 121,000 yen, or 16,900 USD. This stark wage difference is a significant factor for global companies looking to manage costs and expand production capacities outside China. As global corporations seek to hedge risks through the China Plus One strategy, India is increasingly being seen as the plus one. Lower wages, a vast English-speaking population, and a stable democratic framework make India an attractive, long-term destination for labor-intensive and mid-tech manufacturing. However, cost isn't everything. Competitiveness also comes from scale, productivity, and infrastructure. Here lies the biggest challenge for India. As of 2023, China's merchandise exports were valued at approximately $3.38 trillion. India's, in contrast, stood at just $431 billion, according to data from the World Bank and India's Ministry of Commerce. This gap is not merely quantitative, it's also qualitative. China exports not just consumer goods, but also high-end electronics, industrial machinery, and complex components that are deeply integrated into global supply chains. Many nations, including India, still depend on Chinese inputs for their own manufacturing operations. India's manufacturing sector historically has been more focused on lower-tech segments, such as textiles, chemicals, and basic assembly lines. However, things are starting to shift. For instance, India has become the world's fourth largest automobile producer, manufacturing over 4.4 million vehicles in 2022. Companies like Maruti Suzuki, Hyundai, Tata, and even international giants have turned India into a reliable manufacturing and export hub for select car models. This shows that when the ecosystem is right, skilled labor, policy support, reliable supply chains, India can indeed compete on the global stage. Foreign direct investment, FDI, has long been a benchmark for investor confidence. In recent years, India has seen a steady flow of FDI, particularly in sectors like electronics, pharmaceuticals, semiconductors, and electric vehicles. Apple, for instance, has significantly expanded its iPhone manufacturing operations in India through partnerships with Foxconn and Tata Electronics. China still receives more FDI overall, but recent data shows a dramatic decline. According to China's official data, net FDI inflows in 2023 dropped to $42.73 billion, its lowest in over 2 decades. This shift could reflect concerns around geopolitical tensions, regulatory uncertainties, and rising production costs in China. India, meanwhile, has seen tech giants and manufacturing leaders increasingly turn toward its shores, not just to tap into the market, but to build for the world. Despite these positive indicators for India, there are still major structural hurdles to overcome. China's world-class infrastructure, its highways, ports, power grids, and industrial zones, was built through decades of centralized planning and massive capital investment. Its dominance in automation is also growing. As per the International Federation of Robotics, China installed over 290,000 industrial robots in 2022 alone, far surpassing any other country, including India. This investment into automation, AI, and robotics allows China to manufacture higher quality goods at scale, despite higher labor costs. It also means China is moving up the value chain towards precision engineering, semiconductors, and advanced manufacturing. India is still catching up. While the PLI production-linked incentive, schemes, national logistics policy, and the Make in India initiative have created momentum, gaps in infrastructure, logistics, and power availability remain significant bottlenecks in many regions. Given all these factors, can India truly replace China? The short answer is not entirely and not yet. China's manufacturing ecosystem has taken over 30 years to build. It includes highly efficient supply chains, large-scale industrial zones, global logistics networks, and unmatched export experience. It's unlikely that any country, India included, can replace this overnight. However, that may not even be necessary. If India can capture even 10–15% of the global manufacturing base that currently flows through China, it would mark a profound economic transformation. With strong growth projections, India's GDP is expected to grow at 6% plus annually, while China's slows to around 4–5%. India could see its economy double by 2030, reaching approximately $8 trillion. India doesn't need to replace China in its entirety. It needs to carve out its own share, build resilient infrastructure, strengthen supply chains, and continue nurturing its demographic advantage. The path forward is one of strategic complementarity, not direct substitution. India today stands at an inflection point. With the world looking for alternatives to China, the time is ripe. But momentum alone won't carry it forward. Real reforms, infrastructure upgrades, skill development, and continued policy stability are essential. The next decade will determine whether India becomes a true manufacturing superpower or remains a potential yet to be fully realized. The race isn't about copying China. It's about crafting a new model, one that's uniquely Indian, one that blends scale with sustainability, innovation with inclusion, and ambition with resilience. India doesn't need to be the next China. It needs to be the first India. And that journey starts now, with every policy decision, every infrastructure upgrade, and every skilled hand that enters the workforce. So what do you think? Can India rise to the occasion and lead the next era of global manufacturing? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you believe in India's potential, hit the like button, subscribe, and share this video because the world is watching, and India's story is just getting started. Let's tell it together.